Everyone, today is February 12th, 2025. Today is a special workshop on the general fund preliminary budget for 2025-26. This is not an official board meeting. This is a township workshop, which is an open meeting, which we have followed all rules. It's published on the front door on our website. We do have the board members here, so we have a full board here at the meeting. You see before you, there will be no voting today. There is open discussion. If anyone has questions, anyone has suggestions, this is an open meeting. Even the public, if they have any questions, they can ask. The executive committee has worked with the finance director, I should say, and we've been putting this together. This is kind of a preliminary budget, which today I'll be presenting. If you guys have any feedback, anything you think we should change or any questions on, I've also supplied the worksheets that came up with these numbers behind it, which you guys obviously can bring home and research. There'll be no voting, so that's why it's a workshop. So I think I covered all the technicalities of so before you'll see the cover page. It says general fund preliminary. I have the revenues and expenditures. Again, this is strictly the general fund. This doesn't include the millages, which is the fire and ambulance, or the minor funds, or the enterprise funds. The enterprise funds is our building department and DPW department. The general fund, way back when, was a 1 mil operating mill that operated our township. Due to the Headley Act, every year it goes back a percentage. We're currently, this coming year, we're operating at 0.59 mils, so we're operating way under 1 mil. And I've stated this before, we cannot raise it back to 1 mil. If we did, that would be a voter approved renewal back to the 1 mil. So on the top, you'll see the revenues. The main two sources of income is obviously the tax collection. That's part of our 0.59. So again, everything we pay in our property taxes, the township gets 0.059% of that. The other 95% is either millages or county or school taxes. I have projected here through our assessing department for the upcoming 2 years. Our state revenue, shared revenue, we got that listed there. The other item is expected interest earned on investments, interest earned, planning and zoning revenue, special assessment revenue. That's the revenue we get from people paying back on the special assessment districts. Other revenue, this is something the board to think about. I listed 2 potential property sales in the upcoming 2 years. One would be we have roughly 4 to 5 acres next to the Rite Aid at 29. That's marketable over $500,000. Before we sell it, I would recommend that we get that to make sure, get it appraised to make sure it's a proper value. It's probably worth more than that. The other one I have listed, I put $3 million, which is might be on the low side, is the 33 acres we have at 30 and Powell, which we need to investigate if we're going to sell it as a whole, or as I explained at the workshop last week, subdivide it into smaller parcels and potentially sell it as smaller acreage and split it up. The main part of this meeting is to go over the general fund budgets. So the first budget is the township board. The main part of the salaries here is the salaries of the trustees. It also includes, you'll notice in year 1, I'd like to put this in discussion. I put an estimate in. Mary's looking into it for me, but I'd like to explore the option of giving each trustee either a Chromebook or a tablet. I'm thinking instead of, I know there'll always be reasons to print out certain parts of the board packet, but I thought in order to save on ink, paper, time, if we gave everyone a Chromebook, you guys could just have it right there in front of you and it would save it. Well, it's something to think about. As a holding spot, I put $500 each, which may be high or may be low. I don't know what the price is. Huh? Oh, okay, yeah. Nice. That's the only thing I really changed here. You guys can think about it. I know there's occasional, we got to look at blueprints and plans, which I know you can zoom in, but some people, even me, sometimes you like to look at the actual paper. So obviously there's times when you want to do that. Accounting department, actually, we see a slight decrease because last year we had put in for ADP to help with the payroll process. That did not work out. They couldn't handle our fire union contract. So you'll see it kind of return back in line. The accounting department with our finance director, an accountant two position, two accountant two positions. And then we also have a temporary retired assistant helping with the department included in that. Assessing department, you'll notice that a little higher. There's a potential that the assessor may retire. If that happens, we would have to cash her out on her vacation. That's why it's reflecting worst case scenario. If she does retire, she would cash out on her vacation. If that doesn't happen, it would drop. The assessing board of review, that's also under the assessor. That's the 3 meetings in March, the 1 meeting in July, 1 meeting in December. That's the board of review meets with residents or businesses disputing any taxes. The next 3 fall under the clerk's department. There's the actual clerk budget. The elections department. The elections, you'll see a big dip going down because there's no election in the current year. They did provide in case there is a school millage during the year, so there is the possibility that the school sometimes does. If it's not Romeo, it could be Utica or Rochester schools. Year 2, you'll see that spike back up because of, again, the midterm elections, so they'll need to hire back the part-time employee workers to help with that. Cemetery operations, you'll see is we've added to continue the program of restoring the the tombstones. We put in there $10,000 a year. It's a contract of $20,000, I think. So the public likes it. We are keeping our cemetery. If you drive by the cemetery there in 29 between Campground and Mound, a lot of those headstones were broken in disrepair, and it's a great way to pay tribute to those before us. So we've really fixed that park up a lot. We've also included some tree removals and possibly looking into repairing some of the fencing in that area. The Treasurer's Department, again, no real big surprise there. It's most of this is just cost of living expenses for each thing. The contract mostly overall for everyone is a 3% annual increase, so most of it reflects the cost of living expenses. Building operating maintenance. This one, we've actually done a lot over the last 4 years to improve this building. You'll see a slight decrease in the year 1. Year 2, we put it as a holding spot. We still have been wanting to build a garage back here to house the trucks that we have out here and kind of make it like a work area for the maintenance department. I keep it in year 2 so we don't forget about it, but it's not a definite in year 2. It's just something to keep in mind there. Public safety activities, this is pretty stagnant. This is the portion of pay between some of, let me bring up my report here. This is a portion of DPW guys, any labor that they do to monitor our mines over there north end on Mound Road, any street lights, invasive species, that kind of stuff. So it's basically for their work to work on this part of the budget. Planning and zoning, you'll see year 1 take a increase. That's to reflect, we're really going through all the ordinances right now. We're updating everything, Spalding the Deckers, working with Dana to make sure all our ordinances are up to date. We're really, we did our master plan last year. We finalized it. Now we're working to basically improve that by all the implementations on that with making sure the ordinances obviously are tying with the times, basically. And also, it's not just a simple ordinance fix. When you fix one ordinance, it may affect another ordinance, so there's a lot of work involved with that. So we've been taking 3, 4 at a time. By the end of the year, we hope to have that all updated. The supervisor, that's my budget. You'll okay, here we go. My budget, you'll see I've actually I've increased my budget just to reflect. I'm not going to take immediate thing, but I need a full-time assistant. I can't work with a 50% assistant. I do grants. I work with the audit. I'm doing budgets. I have meetings with the county. I have meetings with the road. I have sewer breaks. I have lots of things. So I still would bring it back to the board whenever I would officially hire anyone, but I'm showing it to reflect possibly looking into a deputy or looking into a deputy / maybe HR person to help me with the HR side of the aspect that I do. There's policies we still need to refresh, look at, and it's just time. We're a growing township. You go back several administrations, the supervisor didn't even work at the township, and we're not the same township anymore. It's I'm on call 24 hours. Nothing stops at 5 o'clock. I get phone calls, emails, text, all hours of the night. And anyway, in order to run it more efficiently, I feel like I need at least at a minimum a full-time assistant. But we'll talk about that more as we get into the budget more. The next budget is road, storms, maintenance, and signs. You'll see year one's a little high because it'll be the finish of the new I call it wayfinding, but the new signage of Welcome to Washington signs. That'll be the phase 2 part of it. Phase 1 will be in the current budget. And then normally that you'll see year 2 go back into the normal. See, this is again used for, we do have a little bit in our budget if we do have to put any sign repairs, any maintenance that we can handle locally. Even though the county handles the road, sometimes there's a minor thing we can jump in and fix. Public Works is, this is the SADs portion. It's to be safe. Every year there's the cost share with the county and special assessment districts. They cap out at $500,000. So last year we did approve Copper Creek. They're actually a little over $500,000. We haven't had anyone apply or get approved this year yet, but they haven't until September. So we've always put in $500,000 a year as kind of a threshold. But with rising costs, $500,000 starting. Most projects were under $1 million, so it was kind of a good cost share between the county and the subdivision. But lately, the projects are running over a 50-50 more into the resident. And then they in return, they pay back the township over the course of 15 years or 20 years, whatever we decide. We do that. Other service activities, that's exactly what they are. This kind of covers the auditor, some portions of the planner, attorney fees, engineer fees. These are kind of the catch-all for all the activities for our consultants. Again, it's a lot more reasonable for a township to have these outsourced as consultants. Bigger municipalities actually hire inside engineers, inside planners, but they cost an arm and a leg, basically. So this is a good win-win for the township. You get a professional consultant, and you save on the cost and overhead of that person. Transfers and contingencies, that's the fancy name for a fund balance. So I'm kind of showing, we would have a fund balance, obviously, in both years. Even though we show all the budgets at these amount, the last 4 years under me, and even I would go back 8 years, the 4 years as I was a trustee, we've never spent the budget to the full. We've always operated under budget. So again, I want to thank all the department heads, all the staff for operating efficiently to work under the budget. Just because we have the budget doesn't mean we have to spend the full budget. So I appreciate all of those that handle this like it's your own money. I can't afford Elon Musk to come here and go through line by line, but I can assure the public we not only do we operate under budget, but we also operate under millage cost as well. So I'm very proud of both my administration and the prior administration. We try to maintain the cost here at the township, and doing so by operating at an annual reduction in our operating millage. So yeah, sorry. So any questions? Yeah. Sorry. Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is actually the money. So the question was, what's special assessment revenue? What that is actually the payments of any subdivision that gets a SAD, a special assessment district, as they pay it back through their taxes. So in theory, we had Barbara Ann Street. That's what was that called? Hidden Valley? I think it's called Hidden Valley. So that's subdivision 2. Well, it's more than 2 years ago. They had their whole sub done. They had a 50-50 share. They have 20 years to pay it back. They can pay it back right away if they want, but if they pay it over 20 years, I think it's what, 2%, 3% interest they charge. And that's paid over the 20 years of their thing. So that's another thing. Like a lot of people, especially during election time, they question the fund balance. Why did it dip? Why did it go this way? Why did it go that way? Well, you got a lot of factors. We had ARPA funds that we used, and that decreased it. We had bond money, we used it. Again, SADs, this is money, even though the county does the cost share, we act as the bank, so we're actually putting the money up for it and waiting 20 years to get it back. So we've never refused the subdivision, but again, and we're not in any fearful tight spot, but again, we have to be mindful of how many SADs we approve a year just for cash flow purposes, because we're giving out all this cash. Yeah, as far as I know, it's always been roads, yeah. I mean, I guess they could do it for, if a subdivision wanted to put water pipe through their line, I guess they could do that too, but usually that's road work, yeah. If anyone is listening online, if your sub is interested, again, the county owns the roads, not the township. You could come into our DPW department, they'll give you the forms to fill out. And basically, you fill out a form either through your homeowners association or a group of residents from your sub, and we would walk you through the process, help you get started, and then the county would put you on a list, and if you get approved, then obviously you get the new pavement in your sub. That's why it's important. A lot of homeowner associations, sorry, just because I'm on mine, it's very important to make like a nest egg for a rainy day fund, I should say. Glacier Club is pretty good about it, only because there's 7 phases, I think, and there are 8, I don't know. But each phase has to maintain their road. They actually, every year, part of their dues is to cover the future road work. So when the time comes, they have a lot of money in their bank account. I know a lot of homeowners associations don't do that, so, but again, that's more food for thought. What do you guys like the idea of the tablets or iPads or no, or I don't know.
This is Chuck Reinhold. Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Okay.
Want to point out something. Year-to-date actual column, it says 12/31/23. That's supposed to be 24, right? That's this past year.
Yeah, sorry. Let me fix that.
Okay. Okay. And I've noticed a lot of the stuff is we've only spent about half of the money that was budgeted in a lot of cases on the expenditures.
Yes, so the year-to-date, don't take it too much with a grain of salt. Part of it, the revenue especially, because we're getting our taxes now, and it's a couple months behind. So I was by trade an accountant, so government accounting is nothing like corporate America. But the income, you'll see it swing in all at the end of the year. So now February 28th, when the Treasury office balances out all their collections, you'll see that skyrocket, it'll come back more to true year-to-date. I mean, true, closer to approved budget.
Does that also correlate with the expenditures too? Because it looks like,
so on the expenditures, the expenditure side, again, that's more of an internal thing. We had a turnover in the finance director, and we're catching up with bank reconciliations and audits, and anyway, all that should be corrected within the next week or two as well. So That's why I don't put a lot of, and then again, the same thing with that, a lot of bills are the same way. Sometimes we don't get the bill until the end of the year, so you'll be like, we didn't spend anything, and then when you go look at it, oh, that bill always comes in February or March or whatever it is. Some of them are contract items, some of them are just time of the year.
And also, I'm in favor of the deputy supervisor, so just for record.
Oh, thanks. I have no one in mind, but. Yeah, Charles gets the gold star for catching the typo. The 23. Yeah, there is. Oh, God. Mary's getting the second star.
Was there another one?
Oh, okay. Oh, I hate. Okay, no problem. I have to use the mic, they told me, if I talk. So
yeah.
going back to the iPad
Yeah, yeah.
thing, the reason I'm not pro it is because, in my family, we've bought them, and
Yeah.
we've literally only worked for like the year. And then by the time we did the
I know,
updates,
yeah.
they didn't work. So
Yeah,
I don't
that's a
know,
problem,
I don't
yeah.
think it's a good use. I think we could continue the way we are. Like myself and Mike Nicely use our computers. I don't know if Charles comes to the meetings with a laptop, I'm not sure.
I do.
Yeah, so John, do you have a laptop that you would bring ever, or no? I have a laptop. Would you consider bringing, I'm just trying to say, you know what, I'm just saying that I feel like this is one time where maybe we could save the money and go towards my personal fund of fun. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm just saying, I would still use my own
No, I just,
laptop over a Chromebook, because
yeah.
they're hard to
I
navigate.
just-
My only comment on this, I've had iPads now for 10 years, and I still have some of my original ones, and they still work great, so I don't know why you had such an issue, but I usually get a new one every 2 or 3 years, and I give my mom the old one, and she uses it for 2 or 3 years, and she gives it to somebody else, and so I've never had that issue, so.
I mean,
No.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe the usage, yeah. This is, I know Mary's looking, we were wondering, maybe we got a Verizon account, if maybe we can get some sort of a deal, maybe every 3 years there's an upgrade, or, I don't know, probably not. Too good to be
It's worth
true.
looking into. It's worth looking into.
Yeah, I just, not to sound like I don't want to say the wrong thing. I just, after every meeting, I watch people just dumping all this paper and ink in the recycling bin, and which is great that they're recycling, but I mean, it's just, we're killing all this paper and ink, I'm thinking, just for an hour or two, but ideally, I would like to push this on PC and CPA too. But
I think
I know
that
that's a
would
little bit more complicated with blueprints and stuff, but again, I like it because I can zoom in. If I get a blueprint, I can actually zoom in, and I think it's better than paper sometimes, but sometimes you want to, you want to read it, I get it. Or instead of printing out a whole packet, you just pick, print out a certain section. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't.
He's got a mic.
And
Phil
as
Donahue
the
there.
clerk taking minutes, I have a laptop too, but I
Yeah.
like the paper because
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
keeping track of things. Sometimes I look back and who did the motion. And for me,
No, no,
I
yeah.
wouldn't use it because I navigate the paper with my piles and I try not to disturb Dennis
Yeah.
next to me. So for me, I wouldn't need one, but thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I like the actual agenda sheet. I make notes too during the meeting and stuff. I mean, you're always going to obviously write, but
Okay.
I don't know if Mike, you know, interest a couple years ago, we actually had negative numbers. Now we're actually positive. I mean,
I noticed that.
oh, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know it's a crystal ball kind of question, but I mean, are these conservative or not conservative? Okay. Oh, sorry, it's coming up.
Okay. Yeah, those are conservative numbers. The interest rates are going to continue to fall based upon what the Fed's going to do. The last 2 months, they stayed stable. The reason why I saw some negative ones in the past was they were paper losses, not monetary losses. So we've always had a positive growth in all of our funds, but by the time it gets to accounting, we need to calculate based upon when the interest received and when the maturity date of the funds are. So you will see some negatives on there. That is not a negative cash balance. It's just a negative paper balance.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
think. Trying to think what else do we can. I know for some of you, this is the first time looking at it. So what I did on the left hand of the sheet, I numbered them. This is very scientific. The supporting will have the number on the bottom, so you can tie it back to each budget line item. So you can see the breakdown of each item. And again, if you have any questions, the thing the state changed 2 years ago, before all the fringe benefits was its own budget. Again, in government accounting, that didn't make sense to me. It should have hit each budget. Well, now the state changed that to this, so now each fringe benefit hits each department. So that's one of the changes in the last year and a half. So you'll see the fringe hitting each department now. Again, postages, we reflected postages going up to 73 cents. Mileage is now up to 70 cents. We don't really abuse too much. The mileage, hardly anyone uses it that often, in case once in a while there's some sort of a seminar. The membership fees that the board belongs to, we belong to SEMCOG, the Michigan Township Association, the County Chamber, Macomb Connect, the North Macomb Chamber, and there's MEDA, which is the Michigan Economic Development Authority. Anyway, there's several of those. That's all paid out of the township board. So there's other things that are paid, obviously, through the township board there as well. And again, we're all members, obviously, of those. The Michigan Township Association, if you guys go on the website, we actually have that service. You can look up past seminars and webinars, and they do offer, obviously, live, but you can also go on their website and look at any topic you want to look at a webinar.
So are roads another area? 94,000 doesn't seem like very much for roads.
No. So that'll be part of, I'm still working on that, the minor funds. That's part of the capital improvement project. So the last 4 years, yeah, we've spent a lot of money with the county working on cost share on the roads. But yeah, I'll be presenting that at the next workshop. I'll try to get you guys that information ahead of time though, but yeah.
Is that part of a different budget then?
Yeah, it's technically a different budget, yeah, sorry.
Where's the revenue from that come from?
Out of the fund balance, basically. That's the big question. Some townships, how should I say this before I'm attacked publicly?
Oh, sorry.
No, but we had a very healthy fund balance, but we also, we have roads that need taken care of. The county offers these 50-50 cost shares, so we've been doing that the last 4 years, which we had the funds to do that, and we needed it, especially West Road was in bad shape, Mound Road from 26 to 28. I'm trying to get grant money now, and we actually got approved for that. I think I've said this a couple of times, but it's a TIP program from the government from 29 to 32 on Mound. They'll pay actually 80% of that, and the county would pay 10%, and we would pay 10%, which is a huge savings. But the problem with that is they don't want to do that till 2027. We got another 2 years, and I don't know if Mound can last another 2 more years up there. But that's probably, out of all our roads, that's probably the one most in disrepair right now. Campground north of 28 is probably could use a help too. I do have the community survey out right now. We got 3 more days. If anybody hasn't done it, please do so. And then I want to show that at the next workshop, all the questionnaire and answers to everyone. And you'll see the people's choice of what roads they want fixed, what intersections. But Mound's up there, obviously. And Powell Road this year will be paved from 30.5 to 32. That actually will be covered by our ARPA funds, so that's no cost to that won't be hitting any of our fund balance.
Wow, okay.
No, so Copper Creek, I don't know, Dana, would you know of any? Trying to think. No, subdivisions for SADs. Trying to think. I know that one just got approved a few months ago. We have a lot of subs, they'll come in, they want to do the SAD once they find out the process, and then they only choose one or two a year. It ends up like it's a timeline thing, and yeah, I hate to say it, yeah. States of Stony. Well, States at Stony Creek, yeah, they would like their entrance redone. I'm trying to get the county to do that because the county now will still, they do approaches. The problem with the Estates of Stony Creek is they actually have brick paver entrance, which isn't allowed anymore at today's standards. So we're trying to work with that. There's also a drainage issue there, so we're trying to work out a few different things there. I'm sorry. No, the culvert one was actually Barbara Ann. Sorry, we're jumping all over.
I had a question on the cemetery budget. I was just looking at the actual, and there's a line item, the very last line item of 32,500 capital assets, page number 7.
Thanks.
And I noticed that was budgeted but not approved, but it looks like it was kind of aggregated in with contract maintenance service because the numbers kind of balance out. So I was just wondering if anybody knew what that was.
Yeah, we
I got
reviewed
a note
that.
that says to investigate.
Yeah, that capital asset purchase, I think that got booked to contract maintenance, and that's the issue there. But we had done a lot of renovation of the tombstones. I think we did 25 grand a year at that time. I'm trying to go off memory. 2 years ago, yeah. We did that, but we had a lot of, that's another like touchy subject. Everybody wants to be buried by a beautiful oak tree, but the oak tree grows roots and destroys the plots, and the neighbors complain of the leaves falling, the branches falling, then the tree falls and destroys the tombstones. And so we had a lot of that. The worst one's probably the one at 26 and Mound. Which one's that called? I forget right now. No, at 26 and Mound. Is that just called Washington South, I think? Washington South. Mount Vernon has some old trees there as well, but that one at 29 was bad, and we cut a lot of trees in there, and again, it was more of a necessity because, again, the roots, it's, as Dana would say, right tree, right place. She always says that, or right purpose. So it's kind of hard. You know, if we do plant trees, you got to find those trees that have the roots that grow, what is it, horizontal, not straight down. That's another thing. We have been lucky. We'll get into that with the enterprise fund, but as we build up our DPW, I'd like for them to buy more lawn equipment and chainsaws and that kind of stuff. They can do more of the tree cutting and utilize the wood chips for more maintenance and landscaping purposes. But instead of subbing this all out, like right now, we sub out all our grass cutting to a third party. By investing in our DPW, we could just have the guys do it, 1 day a week, go around cutting grass and stuff. So, yeah, that's a lie. Yeah. Trim it, yeah, to save cost. To kind of trim them up, yeah. Yeah. So for those of you, if you didn't hear, Clerk Brown, she was working with the DPW to trim up the trees to kind of prevent them from falling over, but maintaining them from getting old. I know they got quotes. Each tree is about $1,500 to remove, roughly, if not more, depending the age. The cemetery is kind of a touchy subject always. We're one of the few communities, not only with the cemetery, but several, but financially, in the end, we're held to maintain these properties, so we have to find a way to properly maintain them without any destruction in the future as well. I know I brought this up too, I mean, since we're on the subject, we did raise the price a few years ago on the cemetery lots, but I don't know if that's something the board would want to review this year or not. We were at 500, we went to 700. Other communities are at 1,000. I think that's a fair price, I don't know, but, I mean, again, we're not comparing ours to Resurrection or, it's a different cemetery, but again, the maintenance is with us perpetually, it's not, it's-
It was reviewed about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
We had met with the DPW and went over their costs and fees and.
Yes, you get the mic, she knows.
Mary knows cemetery.
Jeez. About a year and a half ago, we revisited this because we were very much undercharging. We increased the cost quite a bit, but we did a lot of investigative work. We spoke with and had multiple meetings with DPW and assessed all of their fees and costs that are associated with, the burials and all of that fun stuff. So we could always take a look at it again, but they are pretty fair prices. We did go around to the surrounding communities as well. Unfortunately, we can't, compare ourselves to the big Resurrection Cemetery in Clinton Township. We don't even compare. So we were trying to go off of what was comparable and what our costs are currently.
Wouldn't it make sense if we're going to change the prices to have it, we're automatically adjusted for inflation on a yearly basis?
Unfortunately, the township really can't be in the business of making money. Inflation could be something that we could look into for sure. That would be an avenue to take a look at.
Okay, just curious.
I did put, originally when I gave my presentation last week, I know we've been talking a lot about our BSNA. That's a major overhaul. It's over $300,000. Eventually, every community, I think, will have to do it. The IT committee has met. They're recommending we wait another year. So I showed that reflected in year 2, not year 1. But just as a holding spot, maybe we will do it next year, maybe we won't. We'll see how they progress with implementation at other communities where we always mention Chesterfield. They're kind of the local guinea pig. They're going through it right now, and they've had several issues. So we'll see how it goes. So again, for this part, the general fund, there's no big surprises in our budget here. It's mainly just cost of living increases and but again, when you got time, look at each one. If there's certain line items you don't understand, let me know. If you want to drill, I always call it drill down, but if you want to see the activity of what made up that $2,000, Christine, our finance director, can do the download and show you what made up that amount. You'll see uniform allowance, like certain departments get uniform allowance per their contract. I'm just kind of hitting some of the highlights here. Again, in the building maintenance, I put money in to put a new boardroom table. I know we've talked about that for about a decade, I think. But in line with the iPads or Chromebooks, I would like to have more of a table with, I don't know what you would call, like a little wall that you can charge the actual tablets, a privacy panel they call it, yeah, and make it more functional. And the way we sit right now, we really can't look at each other very well. I mean, ideally, I call it a boomerang. It should be more of a boomerang style, so we can all look at each other and kind of talk better. So we're looking at thoughts of that. A local guy nearby actually collects reclaimed wood from old barns, and he had wanted to give us an estimate on making a table out of reclaimed barn wood, which sounded interesting. I don't know what the cost would be on that, but we can look at that. But, again, and then obviously working with WBRW to see if the acoustics in this room, if anything needs to be updated. I mean, this room kind of always gets neglected. I tried to obviously market it a little bit with our township logo and put stuff. But I know we have these sound panels on the wall to help, but again, I think it would help better for communication if we can all kind of look at each other better. I know sometimes like we're all stretching our head to look at who's talking at the other end. It's, so I don't know if anything. Oh, what?
Those of us who sit on the end.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to get rid of the platform because it's the cliff of danger there. A lot of people have fallen there. If there's no questions, feel free, if anyone in the public has questions, feel free to email us. You can email us at comments@washingtontwpmi.org, and one of us or myself will respond to you. I'll email this out to the board so you guys can look at this, unless Lindsay already did, I don't know. The first one, okay, we'll get this out after the meeting. I'll let you guys, if no questions, escape before the snow comes.
Okay.
Okay, if no other questions, thank you guys all for, we'll see you next meeting. Thank you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Sam.
Oh, thank you, Christine, we'll email it to you. There we are. Meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you.